Okay, hi everyone. I'm Mia Taimur, and today we're going to be discussing the future of on-demand delivery in the post-COVID era. We've seen that in the last 3 months, we've seen a massive uptake in delivery and logistics services and on-demand services globally, and the same trend has also come about in Pakistan, where we've seen a surge in digital ordering and delivery companies fulfilling those orders at a very strict timeline and on a regular basis. So to discuss what the future holds for logistics and the on-demand in Pakistan, we have three different founders sitting here in the panel with us today. So we have Salman Alana from Ryder, we have Muhammad Ons from Swift Logistics, and we have Jarar Shah from 247.pk. I think we'll start off with a brief introduction by these participants about the service offerings they provide, and then we'll take the discussion forward. If you have any questions, just message us in the chat window, and we'll be taking the questions as we proceed. So I think we'll start off with Salman. Salman, on to you if you could just introduce yourself and your company, and we'll take it.
Sure. Assalamu alaikum, Taimur, and assalamu alaikum everyone else who's watching from home or the office. Hope everyone is staying well. Just a brief introduction. Ryder is an e-commerce fulfillment and last mile delivery brand. We started this service about 3 years ago, and this was sort of born after I moved back to Pakistan, living abroad and working with companies like UPS, where I realized that there were a lot of bottlenecks in Pakistan that had to be solved one step at a time. The premise behind Ryder was to come up with a tech solution to solve the last mile problem. And we spent about a year just in terms of development and building the right software, whether it's the front end and back end. We launched a pilot in last April, and we've been commercial for about a year now.
That's amazing to see that people are coming back to Pakistan, starting such services, which are a dire need of the time. We'll move on to Ons to discuss about himself and Swift Logistics now.
So Swift Logistics is a last mile delivery company, third-party logistics, and so it's a sister concern company of GT Logistics. Everybody knows about it. So when I was working at GT, we thought that this is a different business domain where there are a lot of companies in this domain, and what they lack is technology. So we came up with really amazing stuff, with really amazing things, which includes Ryder apps. We just want people to get rid of paper pencil wali delivery or courier companies jo pichle 3 saal se karte aa rahe hain Pakistan mein. So we wanted tech to lead it from scratch, and let's get the ball rolling for all the brands and apparel and footwear and accessories and groceries and essentials and medicines and all of that. So we wanted to reinvent logistics. So this is what we do right now.
I think that's a wonderful story of innovating from within an already existing startup, right? Opening up a parallel field that can cater to multiple industries. And now we'll go on to Jarar and hear his story with 247.pk.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. So 247.pk is primarily an online grocery venture. We're based out of Lahore right now. This journey started a few years back. Basically, we wanted to establish a marketing channel for farmers. If you're a farmer, anyone's a farmer out there, you know how painful the process is of selling to the people in the mandi and dealing with artis. So I went through such an experience on a personal level and decided that, why not create something and bypass this. And as one did more and more research, one discovered that, there's just the whole chain is so inefficient that there's a tremendous opportunity to do something really disruptive, but also very progressive. So while starting to do that, we also then I kind of tagged on groceries, because people would, when they would come for the produce, they would ask for essentials, they would ask for milk and yogurt and dalne bhi aap rakh lein and stuff like that. So we realized there was a huge gap for grocery as well. Either there was a supermarket or there was a karyana. There was nothing, in the middle. So people really didn't have access to modern grocery in urban centers. So e-commerce was the way for us to really take this forward, and we've been at it for 3+ years. It's been a very, very interesting journey, and it's really COVID-19 has really applied the rocket to it. So that's where we are currently.
Taimur, I guess you're on mute. We can't hear you.
Can you hear me now? Oh, okay. So the last 3 months, I mean, I think we've seen very challenging times, and you all must be living and breathing delivery and orders day in, day out. So it's a question to all three of you, starting off with Salman, that how has the current situation impacted your business? You've seen growth. If you could share any metrics with the viewers here as to how beneficial the last 3 months have been for your business specifically.
Absolutely. I mean, as tragic as COVID's been and the impact it's had, for logistics and for online, it's been a catalyst, not only in terms of growth in volume, but also in terms of the way we need to think about the challenges that are going to be coming our way over the next decade. So one thing is for sure, it's traditional logistics is done, right? That paper pen that Uns was talking about, that can't keep up with changing times. So I think COVID really solidified that digital supply chain and digital logistics is the way it needs to go. In terms of how we've changed is, one, we've really focused, we've put additional resources into building a logistics company of the future. We know that COVID is right now maybe temporary for another 2 years, but there will be other challenges. And the second thing is, how do we handle these extreme peaks when they come? How do we handle excessive loads with limited resources? Doing a lot more with a lot less? How do we optimize? How do we make sure that we have health equity within the business? How do we make sure that we can grow, keep up with the customers' demands as well as the shippers' demands? So yeah, I mean, even though on paper even volumes have grown significantly, we've grown about 8 times in the last 4 weeks. There's organic and inorganic growth that's come through. A lot of people switching to digital who never used to before. A lot of people who couldn't make it down to the store who now say, okay, we like the convenience and it's safer sitting at home. But even with the growth, I think that there's a lot of challenges, and just focusing on the volumes is not good enough. It's about what are we going to do now to build a company that's going to withstand the challenges in the future as well.
Yeah, okay. It's just, I think there has been a lot of shift happening during this time also. We've had to constantly strive to do more. How about Uns? How have you seen the situation impacting Swift, and what has been the highlight?
I agree with Salman. It's when we say that there were a lot of volumes and people were talking about logistics companies are growing in Pakistan because of this pandemic. Yes, they were, but as Salman was saying, that it's not easy to cope up with a sudden spike. You have to, so it all goes down to optimization. How do you optimize the growth as well? It's you get a certain peak for about a week, and then the lockdown opens up, and then everything goes down, and then there's another lockdown. So it's not easy. इतना वो आसान नहीं है, क्योंकि हमारी policies भी इतनी आसान नहीं है. हमें unpredictable situations है. One night we know that tomorrow is going to be a normal Monday, and the other probably Friday we don't know that either tomorrow the Saturday is going to be another normal Saturday, or it's going to be another lockdown, it's going to be probably another policy implemented. So it's not easy. Yes, we've seen a lot of volumes. We've seen people shifting from retail to digital and online. But at the same time, because we work with a lot of retail brands, the problem with those brands is that it's not only us who's looking at the growth or who's looking at this volume spikes. They are also facing the same problem. because if I'm running a brand and I stock up the inventory with me for about probably 200 orders in a day. If I get 5,000 orders in a day, I need optimization there as well. So it's a whole chain. It's the complete supply chain problem. It's not only logistics. It's not only retail. It's not only the shipper. It's not only the customers. Everybody's learning. I guess this is a good learning phase for all of us, where we can learn both the company, the shipper, the brand, the logistics, and the end customer as well. All of us have to learn through it. We need to swift through these more than couple of months, probably 6 months down the lane. And I think whoever can come up with better technology, better optimizations, probably they're going to survive. And it's going to be very hard for everybody else.
Okay. So I think your focus has very much been on the policy side and the uncertainty. We'll come back to this later. How about you, Gerard? I mean, what was your experience like in this situation?
So, I echo what my other fellow participants have said. So, in late March, when the lockdown was announced, I could feel in mid-March that something, maybe early March, we had started working internally that we were shifting our business model away from a hyper-local one to a warehouse-led one. So we were already doing that, and we were accelerating that because we felt that people are going to start feeling a bit jittery going to supermarkets and going to crowded places. And we didn't realize then that, the lockdown was going to happen very soon, but just we started planning. But in March, when the lockdown did happen, what ensued we couldn't have prepared for. I think no one in the world had prepared for that. Overnight, orders went through the roof. And then not only orders, the size of the orders were just so humongous. I mean, there was actually panic buying going on. And just to give an anecdote, I mean, in end of the last 10 days of March, around 25th, 26th March, there was no good atta available in Lahore. The atta had run out because people had stocked up, and people were also buying in bulk and giving out for charity as well. So the buying pattern that we saw was kind of unprecedented, and that affected the whole supply chain. That affected all the retailers. That affected us as an e-tailer. That we just didn't have the capacity, so we got overwhelmed. And it took us, and then obviously everything was happening in the backdrop of COVID and the lockdowns and all the fears and, getting infected and how to, work from, some people had to work from home. Some people obviously had to be on the ground doing the operations. I mean, it was essential services. We were one of the very few businesses that remained open and were allowed to operate. And so our orders spiked, our volume spiked, but our capacities got overwhelmed. And then it took us a while. And COVID lockdown coincided with the onset of Ramzan as well. And Ramzan, for any player in grocery would tell you that Ramzan is the peak for their year in terms of people stocking up and buying. And again, it's a very people buy in bulk and buy extra. So those 2 months were pretty challenging, but we were able to add a lot of capacity. We were able to increase our team. We were able to do it in a safe manner as well, thank God. And now we're in a stage where, 3 months down the road, where our capacity is much more, and where we were in March, we're almost 4 times that currently, and growing now. And people are, there are ebbs and flows in terms of, like Ons was saying, the lockdown is here and then the lockdown gets opened up. So now we have another smart lockdown going on where certain areas of the city have been locked down. So we're getting another surge, but this time we're much better prepared. And we've added a lot of, we've been able to do some things with our tech as well, where people can have a better experience now, and they can, the delivery slots can be chosen according to the load, and not the experience is much better now than what it was in March. In March, people had to wait for 10 days, and obviously that was not a pleasant experience for people. Globally, people had to wait for 30 days. But again, I mean, this is something, if your groceries run out, you can't wait for 30 days. So it's been a roller coaster. It's been very insightful, very challenging. It's been fun. But yeah, I mean, long ways to go.
Okay. I think that's very insightful. So just a question again to all three of the panelists: what unique steps did you take, or what unique offering of your product do you think helped you serve the customers well during these challenging times, help you cope well, and going forward, how do you see that will continue? We'll start off with Ons at this time.
So what we have done is we've learned a lot in past 2 months, and as Jalal was saying, that Ramzan was following up with COVID. So yes, the surge was there. So what we've done is we've arranged flexible pickup facilities for different brands, for different people. It has been difficult at both sides. So हमें सिर्फ अपना भी सोचना है, because my customer is my brand, my customer is Jalal. So I need to take care of Jalal as well, because he probably is also, my orders are going up because of his orders going up. Because as we are a third-party logistics company, so we are very much dependent on the other parties, the third parties, brands, groceries, essential medicines, all of that. So what we came up with flexible pickup models. We came up with more in-depth tracking for the orders, because we thought, I've realized this as a founder of this company, that if somebody is relying on us, because all of these companies, all of these brands, they need to rely on a logistics company, because then we end up delivering their orders to the customer, and then we need to make things transparent to them. So what we have done, we put everything online on our portals. Whoever works with us, he can see the system is very transparent. Usko apne parcel ka status, if it is cancelled, if it is delivered, if it is delivered, then who picked it up, and there are digital signatures there as well. And then we've integrated with a lot of digital payment companies as well. We've integrated with ecommerce, we've integrated with JazzCash. We are integrating with OneLink. That means we'll integrate with about 14 banks. So anybody can pay, even if the parcel belongs to 24/7. But if we are delivering it, so they can pay through their own bank's app. So that was something that we wanted to do, because we wanted contactless deliveries. We didn't want our riders to collect the cash. It's not. So, it's whole supply chain. We need to take care of our riders. We need to take care of our hygiene. We've made really, really strict rules on our hygiene. We've started disinfecting all the parcels that are delivered through us. Whatever comes in is disinfected. Whatever goes out is disinfected again. When the rider is delivering the parcel, he disinfects the parcel again. He has to stand 6 feet away from the customer. And then we're trying to push as much as we can of online payments. We don't want them to collect cash. We want, because if you give my rider 5,000 rupees, probably the price of the package was 4,300. He needs to give you 700 in return as well. So we are trying our best that we can actually pull this COD, cash on delivery problem as well, and we can ask, or we can tell the people and the customers that start paying online, rather than you keep on paying cash. And so we've done that, and then we saw another problem, that when the volume is higher and the spike of the order is higher, so whoever we are working with, and this is a cash on delivery market, so jiska cash hamare paas ikatha hota hai, we need to give him back as soon as possible, because bahut bade brands to shayad probably they can survive for 2 weeks, but smaller brands, they need to replenish their own inventory as soon as possible. Especially groceries, especially medicine as well. So however, what we've started doing is that we've started paying them in 48 hours. So as of now, whoever works with us, we pay them back in 48 hours. And whatever is delivered, it's paid. Whatever is cancelled, they get the parcels and they get their packages back in the same 48 hours as well. Or probably we are trying to get it down to 24 hours because whenever the next pickup is due, we try our best that whatever was cancelled, whatever was returned, it should just go back to the vendor so that they can, replenish their own inventory. So inventory is also important, which we've realized, because if there are problems at, let's say, 24/7 Garage Fulfillment Center, if there are problems there, there's going to be a problem to our business as well. And the third thing which we realized by looking at all these problems that COVID-19 has created, we are venturing ourselves in a couple of months to fulfillment centers where we are going to, pack and ship the products ourselves. So we'll be offering all the brands and everybody, whatever the product is, we're building temperature control facilities probably in a couple of months where we can stock up, we can put your inventory there, and then we'll pack it and we'll ship it. So, this is what we've learned. अब जैसे लॉकडाउन काफी जगह पर लग गया है, कहीं स्मार्ट लॉकडाउन है, प्रॉब्ली किसी का वेयर हाउस गुलबर्ग में होगा, बट अगर वो सारी चीजें हमारे वेयर हाउस में पड़ी होती तो we could have delivered all the products because online order तो बंद नहीं हुआ, but online order अगर आ रहा है और मेरा वेयर हाउस ही बंद हो गया तो that we've seen as a big problem because we won't be able to take the orders, we won't be able to pick it up, the brand अब उसके पास orders हैं but वो warehouse नहीं खोल सकता. So this is what we've learned as well, that let's venture out into fulfillment and like very state-of-the-art warehousing, which of course is going to be better, cheaper, and faster than the conventional warehousing which people are already doing. So these are the things we have actually learned in the couple of months because of this COVID-19.
So I believe this 48 hourly payment to the vendors is something which is very exciting for the local market, because traditionally what we've seen in the past few years, all the players have suffered a lot with delayed payment cycles. And as you rightly said that, okay, bigger players can easily afford to wait for 2 weeks, but smaller players need quick turnaround of cash. So I think, and especially the future of fulfillment. So man, the moment you mentioned fulfillment centers, so the word Amazon starts coming to your mind that, okay, we have something following its footsteps in Pakistan and getting there. How about you, Salman? So what has Ryder done? What unique thing you think is coming out from Ryder, and how do you see it going ahead?
So I think, before, when we think of logistics, right, whenever there's a problem, logistics solves those problems with brute force, whether it's Pakistan, whether it's international. There's a problem, just add more, right? Just add more brute force and bulldoze down the problem. You have excess volumes, you put extra trucks. You need more space, you add more warehouses. But what COVID has taught us is how to do a lot more with a lot less. So it's all about optimization. How are we able to use the same riders, the same fleet, the same spaces to do multiple verticals, whether it's getting fresh flowers delivered, whether it's getting food, or getting an e-commerce kapra jora delivered. So it's about how are you able to maximize your asset and minimize the time. So we spend a lot of time working on optimization. That was the biggest thing. The second thing is the fulfillment angle. So what we learned during COVID was how reliant the ecosystem is on each other. So us as a 3PL, we could be working absolutely fantastic. I'm not saying that we are, but just hypothetically as a 3PL, you could be working, and delivering everything within 2 hours. But if the shipper is taking 14 days to pick back, at the end of the day, the customer experience is cumulative of that time. Similarly, if Gerard is able to fulfill his grocery orders in 45 minutes, but by the time we go pick it up and we deliver it to the customer, it's the next day or 7 hours, the customer doesn't really care about the breakdown. So it's how do we now close that ecosystem? And fulfillment was a big thing that we started doing. We launched a fulfillment pilot about 4 months ago, and that was extremely successful. So now it's about taking this commercial and realizing how dependent the ecosystem is on each other, from the shipper to the 3PL to the end customer.
Okay, and how do you see what more steps being taken in the future along the same lines, you think, which will make Ryder stand out?
Bilkul. So apart from just doing a lot more with a lot less, it's about the sort of safety and security measures that we have to take. It's giving that customer the satisfaction and that feeling of being safe from a health point of view when they're receiving something at their house. It's extremely personal when somebody makes a decision not to leave the house for the sake of their family, to then have somebody show up at their door very carelessly to deliver a parcel without us taking the measures for that. So again, before where you could solve a problem with brute force and just add more riders to your fleet and constrain them in a certain sorting area, you now have to say, okay, fine, how do I socially distance them? How do I make sure they're wearing, we piloted these antibacterial uniforms. We piloted, antibacterial clothing, masks, things like that, walk through gates. So giving the customer that feeling that, okay, if I made a conscious effort to not expose my family, I want the company serving me to have also taken a certain amount of responsibility. So whether it's cashless payments and just keeping the entire interaction, as distant as possible, but it's easier said than done, right? It's easy to put up a Facebook picture and say Ryder is now cleaning every package before we hand it over, or Ryder is keeping 3 meters away from each other. I think these things are easier said than done. And it's been a challenge for all of us, especially when we're in multiple locations, micro fulfillment. You have a labor force of maybe 300-400 people out on the road at any given time. It's a challenge, definitely. So I don't know if we have the answer about what we would do in the future, but I think recognize as a first step.
I think it's all about taking the first step in the right direction that can help all companies cater to it. Now, coming on to Gerard, so 24/7.pk, what steps, unique things have been done, have been taken out, and what do you have in hold for the future?
So, like I said, we were in the process of shifting our business model from hyperlocal to a warehouse-led one. But COVID accelerated that process because obviously from a safety point of view, we didn't want to, so from a customer experience point of view, I'll start off from that. Customers would be placing their order with us, and because our partner stores, their inventories were not linked with us. So we'd be, someone would order their essentials and someone would, have an imported shampoo, for instance, some brand. Now, our fulfillment people would go and to the partner store and find out that, because of the supply chains being disrupted, since being in lockdown, a lot of freight wasn't coming from Karachi and the port. So the imported stuff was really running low. Already imports were running low beforehand, but in those 10, 12 days, imports really kind of cratered. So we would have to tell the customer, the shampoo isn't there. So the customer really had a really bad experience. They didn't know that our partner store had run out. They didn't know that our inventories weren't linked. For all intents and purposes, it was 24/7, not being, providing a good experience to them. So we really moved very quickly to our own fulfillment center. We were able to bring in-house almost 70% of what we have on offer. So this has obviously added to the customer experience. This has shortened the delivery time window. This has made the whole process a lot safer for our own team members and frankly for the customers, because if we were fulfilling from a partner store, our people were exposed to many, many more people. And now it's in a much more controlled environment. We have our protocols. But like Salman said, easier said than done. I totally agree with that. It's a it's been some of the most challenging. It's been very challenging to hammer this home day in, day out, that how this is for our own people's safety. And if you keep your own people safe, then you will keep the customer safe as well. And to have this mindset where, people just have to stop shaking hands, for instance. People have to stop, our traditional way of hugging each other and shaking hands. So it's that process of getting the mindset changed. You can have hand sanitizers. We have all of that. We have we have the walk-through gate, disinfectants, all of that. But basic things like, the mask, getting the mask on and making it mandatory for people to wear the mask, that was something that we had to really fight and really train our people and really had to resort to fines. We had to resort to fines and some harsh measures, and finally that now I'm very happy to say that we were paid a surprise visit by one of the government agencies, and we were given a clean chit because all of the SOPs were being followed. So these are the things that we have done at the back end. On the front end, we've been improving our tech. We've launched a new website. We have these new delivery slots and time slots where people are able to choose. So the customer is now in much more control of the process. This is not a lottery anymore that, they've placed an order and they don't know when it's going to come. If the delivery slot is there, then everything's very clear, very transparent. So we've tried to make the whole process much more transparent. We are going to be adding more features like these, in terms of live tracking and in terms of, the inventory offering and some other product offerings that we want that can make the whole process very seamless. For us, the digital payment space is there, it's growing, but COD still remains 70% plus of our business. Frankly, from a business point of view, we don't mind that because the digital payment space, the commissions they charge are quite high for a low margin business like ours, and then they keep our money for 4 or 5 days. So that's really absurd. So, but anyway, obviously we want that contactless transactions happen and digital payments happen. So we have all of the facilities. We've offered all of those, and then we want to come up with some other features that can make the whole process very easy and convenient for the customers. They don't have to, they can have recurring orders and subscriptions and stuff like that, so that the shopping online process is more painless for them. So there are things in the pipeline where we're working on lots of stuff. We are working on expanding our geographical reach. We are just currently only in Lahore. So the first thing is to obviously get outside Lahore and get to other cities. We get a lot of demand. We get a lot of orders from outside that we unfortunately have to decline. So yeah, that's what we've done. And it's a constant thing. We're learning every day, and we're trying to improve every day. And there are mistakes that are made every day, but we try to learn every day.
Okay, thank you. So Salman and also you're dealing with clients from multiple industries. So how has been your experience, and with the downfall in retail happening over the last few months? You just highlighted it a little. So across industries, which industries do you think have adapted well to align yourselves very smoothly with the delivery experience with regards to safety, with regards to timely delivery, whether it be offering same day delivery or whether it be offering a planned or scheduled delivery? So what's your input on that? Which industry has done well? Which industry needs to do more on that side? And how are they adapting to basically the new normal, you can say, of deliveries? And how are you helping your clients adapt it much faster so as to streamline and smoothen your supply chains as early as possible? We'll start, Salman, with you, and then we'll come to once.
Sure. I hope my connection's okay. We're just having some problems here down the road. I think, yeah, it was a challenge for our customers across the board, whether they were in fashion retail to diversified retail to pharma. I think everybody had challenges. Nobody was able to adapt as seamless, but the people who were willing to adapt their business model to the digital supply chain were the quickest to come out of that. So the shippers, our clients, who were very open to concepts like omni-channel, to fulfillment, to adapting the traditional model, they came out of this hole very, very fast. And we're seeing this business model change every day, right? So even though we came into this to disrupt traditional logistics, I'm already seeing our firm already now maybe 2 steps behind. So this thing is changing every day and it's changing so fast. So I think the key is to be agile for our clients. It's to be able to adapt to any new business models, whether it's micro fulfillment, whether it's warehouse fulfillment, whether it's multiple cities. It's also being able to adapt to the needs of the client. So if it's pharmacy, it has to be 1 hour, 2 hour delivery. It's pointless, if you're doing anything more than that. If it's groceries, it has to be again within a certain 7 to 8 hours. If it's clothes, maybe 24 hours. So how does a logistic company like ourselves, how are you able to adapt to those different needs? Again, trying to manage and optimize your fleet. So yeah, I think that the people, the clients, the shippers who are able to adapt very, very fast, were able to go digital. They were able to come out of any hole, any backlog, and were able to ride any success they could from this lockdown.
Okay. How about Uns? How has been your experience with this industry stood out during these times?
So the more I work with a lot of people in retail industry, and जो लोग पहले e-commerce को side gig समझते थे ऐसे, so like big retail brands, they used to think that e-commerce is side gig, it's a side business, it's okay. Retail, makes up to 4 billion, 5 billion, 6 billion annual turnover. E-commerce is just like nothing. So the hottest seat right now at all those retail brands is the e-commerce manager seat, because he is the guy who is actually, driving and making them survive out of all of this. I have seen brands, I've seen, and I'm still looking at them, the retail industry, especially fashion, they're actually trying to shift themselves from brick and mortar stores to e-commerce. So now they've realized that how important e-commerce is. So I usually talk to people and I say that, whatever has to be done in 10 years time in Pakistan, that's being done in 2 months. That's probably, it will take another six months or probably another 2 years. That's been done. The education that people needed, it's not only about the customer, it's about the owner of that brand as well. It's about the managers of that brand as well. It's about the people who are working in that industry as well. They've also realized that e-commerce it actually exists. Because before Pakistan, mein hum log to hamesha ye samajhte the, like I've worked with retail brands as well. We always used to think that, agar mera 4 billion, 5 billion annual turnover hai, e-commerce mein mera itna turnover hi nahi aata, it's like, wo usko aakhri ek corner mein seat milti hai e-commerce manager ko. It's just like a digital marketing manager who's doing e-commerce. And now they've realized कि हम गलतियां क्या करते थे. हम digital marketing को सिर्फ e-commerce कहते थे. अब e-commerce is itself a virtual store. E-commerce itself has to have a separate inventory system. E-commerce itself has to have separate fulfillment center or separate warehousing. So now people have realized, and they're still realizing. And I guess जो जितना जल्दी realize कर लेगा, वो probably उतना जल्दी और उतना, it's better for them. And of course, then it goes down. We, as Salman is working, I'm working, we're a 3PL company. We stand where they stand. If they're not realizing that the new gig is e-commerce, how come we can? So what we have done is we are trying to integrate, and we're trying to make tools and different apps that can integrate with the systems to help them, it's to make their life easier when they want to shift things to e-commerce. So we're integrating with Magento, with WordPress, with WooCommerce, with Shopify. We make all the apps, we make all the tools. We're integrating with Retail Pro, we're integrating with AX Dynamics. So we've made our system so transparent that if you want to integrate with your financial system, we'll integrate with you. If you want to integrate with your website, we'll integrate with you. Just to make it more easier for them, क्योंकि बहुत सारे लोग अभी भी reluctant हैं कि नहीं store खुल जाएगा और store वाली sale e-commerce पे नहीं हो सकती. And it goes down to everywhere. It goes down to retail. It goes down to apparel, footwear, accessories, medicines, grocery. वो grocery stores वाले भी, अब Gerard is sitting here, but grocery stores भी. But Gerard's model is different because Gerard started there was no brick and mortar store. Gerard started from the warehousing stuff. He was doing the hyper local model, and then he shifted himself to But stores like Al Fatah, stores like, or Europa store, there are a lot of stores in the market out there. They have started realizing that e-commerce exists. And now people are actually shifting. So they need to shift. तो वो आपको टेक्नोलॉजी शिफ्ट भी चाहिए, आपको माइंडसेट शिफ्ट भी चाहिए, आपको ह्यूमन रिसोर्स शिफ्ट भी चाहिए, फिर आपको अच्छे ई-कॉमर्स के लोग भी चाहिए. So I guess that's what the industry has learned, and they're still learning. What role we could have played was that we could have made their life easier and better. Because end of the day, delivery तो उन्होंने कहीं से करवानी है. So अगर हमसे delivery करवानी है, the best part was that we integrate with the systems. We need to build that bridge that can make their life easier while they're shifting from brick and mortar stores to e-commerce. But this is what my learning is now.
I think that's very exciting learning, and you've given very apt suggestions for the e-commerce players out here. So I've worked with a few e-commerce players here in Pakistan, and they've had a very traditional mindset, and I believe this time should force them to shift to a pure digital e-commerce play, and that is the need of the time. And I believe with the integration that you've just mentioned, so putting on the e-commerce hat, I believe these are the things that were needed even within the e-commerce space, because this is something that's going to push things further ahead and help them build the confidence. Coming on to you, Gerard, so very grocery specific question. So we've seen a lot of uptake in online grocery happening in the last 3 months. Do you see this trend continuing in Pakistan? Do you think people will start relying on it, or people would want to go back to their grocery stores and would want to use this opportunity as an outing out of their house and go and shop for things? So what do you foresee?
So I'd say so we're obviously one of the players that have been in the space since before Corona. So we think that grocery is historically, not only just in Pakistan, but even in global terms, e-commerce was growing much faster in other segments, in fashion, in electronics, and other stuff. It was growing very fast in grocery, but the groceries overall pie, the slice of e-commerce for that grocery pie was smaller relative to other sectors. So, and there are reasons for that. Grocery is such a habitual thing. I mean, if you're going to your grocery store, your neighborhood grocery store, you probably, habitually are going there every week, every 10 days, 15 days. If your daily basket of bread, eggs, sabzi phal, you have your own specific vendors. So it really depends on the psychology and the segmentation of people. Now, for us, we feel that because many people just never tried out online and now have been forced to try online, that is going to force a change. Now, will it be that 100% of people buying online right now will continue to do so in the future? No. But I think a very big chunk of those people will remain online. The reason is that if the experience that you're providing is one that is of convenience and of trust, where the process is credible, you know that if you're ordering vegetables and fruits, the quality will be there. So a lot of people would buy their own vegetables and fruits because they would like to touch and feel their own produce. But if you can take that away by giving them a really good quality service and good quality products, then you are taking that hassle out and giving back time to them. Time that they can spend doing something else, spending with their kids, going to the park, going to the gym, whatever. So it's about what kind of experience online players are able to deliver in the next few months. And if the experience that is being delivered is one of convenience and the process is seamless, then a lot of people will stick to online because it's just easy. It's easy, it's convenient. For people who like to go to grocery stores for outings, I think so there are certain segments like that. So you can't really cater to those. Those people are still going to Al Fatah and Green Valley and everywhere, right? So a lot of people are going to supermarkets even now. It's not like the supermarkets are empty and online is surging. Online is surging, but supermarkets are also doing very well, and they're back to the rafters as well. Uh, but I think the biggest thing would be that there are these segments that we would look at that we felt were very, we had to really work hard at cracking the code and the psychology of those customers. So customers like who really wanted to touch and feel their own stuff. So how do we get through to them? So COVID has provided that breakthrough, because a lot of those people have been forced to buy online vegetables and fruits and meats and their keema and ghost and stuff like that. So that has been a very, very revealing experience for them. So they now don't have to go out and stand in the heat and feel their way through their sabzi and pan. Secondly, I think again, online, if you can give these features which offer convenience, I think you'll keep the people hooked. There are different hooks. You just have to innovate. You have to do those things. People around the world have been doing it. People in Pakistan are doing this. We are trying to do this. So we were confident that even once things go to the new normal, whichever that is, I think overall online is just going to take off like anything. I agree with what I think Un said, or maybe Salman said, I'm not sure. But where we felt, it would take us 5 years to get to in terms of consumer behavior regarding online, I think we've kind of gotten there already in 2 months. So that is something huge. I don't know how we can quantify that as yet, because it's a work in progress. But I think a lot of stuff is happening. Online is just the new, digital is the new thing now. Brick and mortar is going to face challenges. They're going to face challenges. The fashion industry or the other people, they are facing these challenges. And you have the restaurants are facing these challenges. Cloud kitchens are coming up. A lot of these home-based cooking is now really taking off. And I think for people 3PL, I mean, this must be probably one of the fastest growing segments right now, because we're not providing third-party logistics to anyone. We do our own logistics, but we get a lot of inquiries on a daily basis that I'm a home cook. Can you deliver for us? Can you put your thing on your thing and deliver our products? And we have to direct them away. So I see these trends and these things that are happening. I think the whole economy is transitioning. The global economy is transitioning, had been transitioning, but Pakistan is also transitioning, which is very positive. And that is also going to hold true for groceries then in the future.
Okay, I think we're very hopeful that the trends will change and we can get more people to keep on continuing and shopping online. On coming back to your point you mentioned earlier about the policy level uncertainty and things changing literally within a few hours notice. So just bringing that point up again. So if you could just pinpoint 2-3 biggest challenges at a policy level that you see or you've seen in the past 3 months, or you see, and how would you want to change them going forward, and what recommendations would you want to give at a policy level from a delivery and a logistics service provider that could help further accelerate this?
Oh, well, the problem is that yes, the policies are going to be there, and yes, they have to be implemented. Yes, the government needs to, they need to put up or come up with the lockdowns, smart lockdowns, because, coronavirus, this COVID-19 has to be stopped. Of course, pandemic to khatam hona chahiye. Hame khatam karna bhi hai, which is I care about myself, I care about my family, I care about my employees, I care about my riders, I care about my customers, I care about my vendors as well. तो खत्म तो करना है, लेकिन उसकी कोई एक well defined policy हमें नहीं मिली. Like जब शुरू हुआ, fine, that was abrupt because nobody knew how. ठीक है, वो शुरू में तो किसी को समझ नहीं आई. वो postal courier services खुले रहेंगे, takeaways खुले रहेंगे, बंद हो जाएंगे, restaurant खोलना है, बंद करना है. It was haywire everywhere. That is fine. But now we're 2 months ahead of that. Like it started on 23rd March. Now we are standing on 26th of June. So we are way far, we are beyond that unpredictable situations. Like if I'm not sitting like Jalal, Salman would agree, you would agree with me as well. Like if we are sitting at home or if we are sitting in the office, we know the graph is going up. Everybody knows it. We can see the graph, everybody can read the graph. Problem is that there should be well-defined policies. Agar aap smart lockdown kar rahe hain, probably you need to tell us 20 days, 10 days, at least 7 days before doing this. So we would know that kahan par smart lockdown, and then you need to define the smart lockdown as well. That what is smart lockdown? Are you going to close the roads and then nobody can enter? If somebody goes in and then nobody can come out, if somebody goes out, nobody can go back. What is it? Is it like, iski koi definition nahi hai. अगर वहां पर फूड डिलीवरी हो सकती है तो अगर रेस्टोरेंट वहां पर अंदर है तो वो फूड डिलीवरी कर सकता है, वहां से बाहर या नहीं कर सकता. अगर हमने कहीं से कोई ऑर्डर उठाया है और डिलीवर करना है, वो ऑर्डर हम डिलीवर कर सकते हैं. अगर हम कर सकते हैं तो फिर there should be some written notifications that yes you guys can do it and we've authorized you. क्योंकि वो जब तक आप मुतलका थाना, मुतलका SHO, वो उस इलाके के उन सारे SHOs को वो पूरी वेल डिफाइंड नोटिफिकेशंस या वेल डिफाइंड पॉलिसीज नहीं मिलेंगी, तो हो सकता है वो बेशक पोस्टल और कोरियर सर्विसेज आर अलाउड टू डिलीवर, बट द प्रॉब्लम इज कि वहां पर जो पुलिस वाला खड़ा हुआ उसको पता ही नहीं है, वो कहता है मैं अंदर नहीं जाने दूंगा आपके राइडर को. तो दैट शुड बी वेल डिफाइंड एंड देन इट शुड बी वेल डिफाइंड टू द लेवल जो पुलिस वाला वहां किसी नाके पर या किसी बैरियर के बाहर खड़ा हुआ है उसको भी पता होना चाहिए कि मैंने क्या डिलीवर होने देना है और क्या डिलीवर नहीं होने देना, किसको बाहर जाने देना है, किसको बाहर नहीं जाने देना. So I think that is one of the major constraints that we've been facing, and that should be addressed. Halanki we are talking to we're talking to the high ends, we're talking to assistant commissioners, we're talking to DCOs. Whenever we hear कि अच्छा अब कोई नया लॉकडाउन लग जाएगा, सब सारा हमारा फोकस अपने बिजनेस से हटकर सिर्फ इस चीज पे होता है कि अच्छा पहले हम परमिशन तो ले लें कि हम काम कर सकते हैं कि नहीं. हम अगले दिन काम कर रहे होते हैं. प्रॉब्लम है कि हमें पता ही नहीं है हम लीगल काम कर रहे हैं या इलीगल कर रहे हैं, हमें अलाउड है या हमें अलाउड ही नहीं है, और अगर हमें अलाउड है तो कहाँ अलाउड है कहाँ नहीं अलाउड. So I think the definition of the policies is really important. We as companies need to know beforehand. I don't know, it can be privately, it can be publicly, but we want to know and we need to know and we should know that how, when and who and how is this going to happen? Who's going to do it? How things will be implemented? What SOPs do you want us to, do you want us to take care of? अगर हम अपनी SOPs पे पूरा नहीं उतरते, हमारा rider, I agree with Salman and I agree with Jara, even the face mask, I used to say this is a chin mask. Everybody in Pakistan I see the mask is here, it's not on the face, so it's a chin mask for us. It is very hard to, especially the riders, बहुत मुश्किल काम है क्योंकि वो आपके सामने पहनेंगे, वो बाहर जाएंगे शायद किसी एक कस्टमर के सामने पहनेंगे, दो के सामने उतार देंगे, so it's very hard. And even I don't want to talk about riders, even people like us, they feel disgrace if you say that why aren't you wearing mask if you're sitting in front of me. It's a disgrace for them. ये हाथ मिलाने वाली आते हैं, I agree with Gerard. आप किसी से हाथ ना मिलाएं, वो बुरा बना जाते हैं लोग कि आपने मुझसे हाथ क्यों मिलाया, मुझे तो कुछ भी नहीं है. But asymptomatic people are there, you don't know, because you need to take care of everybody around you and your own self as well. And then people need to realize that if you're entering our office or if my rider is going to your place, तो अगर वो कह रहा है कि बाजी आप प्लीज मुझे एक पैसे बाइक के ऊपर रख दे, मैं हाथ नहीं लगाऊंगा, तो बुरा मत बनाएं क्योंकि it's for your own good. आप इसको डिस्ग्रेस मत समझे. हम लोग अगर कोई ऑफिस आ रहा है उसका कोई थर्मामीटर से टेम्परेचर चेक कर रहा है तो वो लोग बुरा बना देते हैं. क्या मुझे बुखार नहीं है, मैं मास्क नहीं पहनूंगा क्योंकि मुझे सांस नहीं आता. So there are a lot of problems. ये हमारी internal problems है. This somehow we can fix. But जो external problems है, राइडर को उठाकर अगर आप पुलिस स्टेशन ले जाएंगे कि तुम्हें यहाँ पे अलाउड ही नहीं है डिलीवरी करना, तो वो राइडर को भी नहीं पता था क्योंकि हमें नहीं पता. आप हमें बताएंगे तो हम राइडर को बताएंगे. Probably there should be something in written where we can give things to our riders that अगर तुम्हें कोई पुलिस वाला रुके या तुम्हें कहीं कोई मसला है, then you can show them this notification that my company is allowed. Although we are trying to get that done, But I think the government should tell us all of these things beforehand. हमें ये ना समझ आए कि जुम्मे को हम डिलीवर कर सकते हैं, हफ्ते को यहाँ पर बंद हो जाएगा तो पिकअप नहीं कर सकते पर डिलीवरी कर सकते हैं, संडे को एवरीथिंग विल बी बैक टू नॉर्मल. और फिर जैसे द मोर लाइक आई गेस हम अभी पहले बात कर रहे थे तो रात के टाइम सब खुला हुआ है, दिन के टाइम सब बंद है. अच्छा, हम फिर सोचते हैं अगर एक कस्टमर को रात, वो कस्टमर कहता है मुझे 9 बजे डिलीवर कर दो क्योंकि मेरा बाय बैरियर उतर गया. 9 बजे राइडर वहां चला जाता है, वो डिलीवर कर देता है, जब बाहर आने लगता है तो बैरियर वापस लग जाता है. ये बहुत अनप्रेडिक्टेबल चीजें हैं. आई थिंक दिस शुड बी सॉर्टेड, एंड इवन इफ दिस, even I don't know if this can be sorted or not, but I think things should be written and we should get it beforehand. कि कल हम ये करेंगे, 3 दिन बाद हम ये करेंगे, एक हफ्ते बाद हम ये करेंगे, अगले महीने हम ये करेंगे, and then they should take our feedback as well. Like probably not only us, it should be everybody from the industry. The government should take feedback from them that how are you easy? How can you guys, what do you guys suggest? कि हम अगर लॉकडाउन करें तो आपका राइडर ये एसओपीज करेगा, अमल करेगा. अगर वो करेगा तो हम आपको परमिशन दे देते हैं, पर फिर आपकी जिम्मेदारी है कि आप ये एसओपीज पर अमल कराएंगे. फाइन, we'll do it. We'll try our best. It's not easy, but we'll try our best. So that, I think these are my major concerns, which are really, which you know, they are problems.
I believe very valid points, and Salman and Jara would also align with you on W on this, because this is something that everyone in the industry is facing. So I think we'll just move on towards concluding thoughts as to what does the future hold for logistics and on-demand delivery in Pakistan. So we'll start off with Salman, your concluding thoughts on this, and we'll just
absolutely. So the future of on-demand, I think it's going to have to start with the cycle of trust, right? So people right now, they want to do COD because they don't want to prepay, because A, they might not trust that the logistic partner will deliver it in time. B, they might not trust the quality of the shipper, or even if the shipper is available or no. So I think for on-demand to really kick off, we need the cycle of trust. Because to guarantee a 2-hour delivery or a 1-hour delivery, the shipper and the logistics company need to be confident that yes, this customer is available and is willing to pay, and that is the form of a credit card or a Jazz Cash or whatever it is. But again, the customer is not willing to do that because of the trust. So I think the customer, the shipper, and the logistics companies, we need to work towards this issue of mistrust and align, and then you really see the 20-minute deliveries, the 1 hour, the on-demand. The second thing for on-demand to really flourish is for shippers or clients, whatever you want to call them, as well as customers, to understand the premium behind it and the premium involved in it, right? So, जब हम Amazon देखते हैं, Amazon Prime, so no one complains to pay that extra £3 or £4 to your dollars or whatever it is to get your 2-hour delivery, right? Or to choose your time slot. But it's become culturally acceptable here that, you know, we need to get the most out of the logistics company. And the model of on-demand is very different from e-commerce fulfillment and last mile. So yes, on-demand is a subset of last mile, but the business model is completely different. And I think the shippers and the customers need to realize that as well, that yes, okay, if we want something in 20 minutes or 1 hour, there's a premium attached to it, right? Versus a regular last mile delivery where a rider might go out with 20, 30, 40 parcels and do something on a route. So I think, yeah, to conclude, it's the trust factor that needs to be aligned and the premium factor. And if these two things are aligned, I see on-demand being the next big thing here in Pakistan.
Yeah, I think all the points are very valid and to the point, and they all need to be executed. Accordingly, Jura, your concluding thoughts on this?
So, yeah, I mean, absolutely. I agree with what just what Salman just said, and I think just to touch upon the legal and regulatory aspect as well. I think we so just on a micro level, yes, वो lockdown वाला जो we get these notifications and उसके ऊपर लिखा होता है कि these things are allowed. For instance, our online grocery is one of the essential services that are allowed. But when we go to the picket, तो picket पे वो कहते हैं कि जाएं, you can't do this. या आप government से stamp लगवा के आए ये stamp. So these issues were much more prevalent in March, but आजकल कल परसों थोड़ा सा हुआ है, but not as much now because we've got those letters and stuff. But still, I agree कि वो clarity आनी चाहिए. But overall जो एक framework है startups के लिए भी for e-commerce. A lot of work is now being done on that. I understand that, realize that I belong to the school of thought जहाँ वो I think a government को हम जितना out of the way, they should just get out of the way and let people develop this, let the private sector come and do this. There's a lot of stuff that can happen, and for innovation to happen, the government needs to be out. So I'm not someone who thinks that the government needs to be really involved and वो बहुत ज़्यादा उनका वो होना चाहिए participation. I think कि government हमें laws दे दे, duties कम कर दे, taxes कम कर दे, इस पे incentives दे दे, and then just see how this takes off. Because this is how it's been done everywhere else. From regulations regarding funding and opening the startup, employee stock option, all these things are just very, very difficult right now, and they shouldn't be so difficult. And ये सारी चीजें clear होनी चाहिए. जो आपकी बात है on demand वाली model की, I agree. पूरी दुनिया में people pay a premium. Pakistan में they don't. The customer, yeah, at least they don't want to. So that is a challenge. So that means you have to tweak your model accordingly. You have to develop your model accordingly. In my space, for instance, Instacart can work in North America. Instacart cannot work in Pakistan or India for that matter. So you cannot charge really hefty commission from the retailer. You can't charge a really solid delivery fee from the customer. It just won't work. वो customer psychology accept नहीं करेगा, retailer जरा वैसे भी नहीं accept, वो उसके भी margins thin है. So restaurants में तो हो गया, but grocery में मुश्किल होता है. So for an on-demand thing, where then people, their expectations are also that if we are ordering online, then that means that it should just appear magically all of a sudden very quickly. So it makes for a very interesting challenge in Pakistan. It is something that all of us are grappling with on a daily and hourly basis, trying to figure out how to come up with a solution which is, where the company is also making some money and the customer is also getting a lot of value. And that is a work in progress. And I think if usme we're at it. So hopefully हमारी कोशिश यही है कि we can also I think we also need to play a part in educating. I mean, I don't want to make it sound like condescending or something like that. Educating is probably the wrong word, but creating this awareness regarding online. So, जब customer करे online आए तो वो एक awareness होनी चाहिए कि क्या आपके possibilities हैं, क्या नहीं है, and हमें भी as companies भी अपनी expectations जो हैं उनको भी लोगों की we should keep that in a realistic thing as well. I think a lot of customer dissatisfaction stems from promises that are being made by companies also. So वो हमने भी ये किया and हमने सीखा है इससे, and not कि आप अच्छी चीज़ ही ना फिर promise करो बिल्कुल ही ढीले हो जाओ, वो भी नहीं करना आपने, but you have to be you have to strike for a balance and so that वो ecosystem भी grow करे and customer की adoption भी जो है वो from necessity के बजाय वो from desire build. So that is something that I think we are trying to work on, and I'm sure others are as well.
Okay. Thank you, Gerard, for these thoughts. On to Ons now. We would love to hear your concluding thoughts on the future of delivery and logistics.
When so today is an on-demand thing, and it's delivering food, and they're delivering They're working with pantry model, which is again hyperlocal model on demand. This is what we learned, that people, I agree with Salman, I agree with Gerard, that there is a premium attached to on-demand delivery. And that is a problem in Pakistan. And so we're also trying, I'll let it be a surprise, we're trying to get that sorted somehow. And of course with technology and of course with more optimization, that we can probably reduce the timings from 24 hours to probably 6 hours or 4 hours or 3 hours or 7 hours. But on demand, yes, I agree with Gerard, Instacart comes to Pakistan, it's not going to work. Because yes, it's going to be a problem and people are not ready to pay the premium. And on the other hand, I think our companies, the e-commerce companies, these e-commerce brands should also focus on consumers rather than just focusing on the unit economics. Yes, unit economics are very important, but why Salman was talking about trust, the trust comes from the brand. If somebody's ordering online and you've sent a wrong order twice, thrice, and then or probably you charged him the way it should not be charged, and you promised him, as Gerard was saying, you promised him a couple of things and then you're not fulfilling it. That is the problem. And because all these e-commerce, majority of them are so much focused on their own unit economics, they forget about the customers. In Pakistan, I think people and whoever is starting e-commerce, the first thing they should think about is their consumers. The companies should be more consumer-centric rather than their own unit economic-centric. So I guess that can bring a change when somebody can trust, they can pay. That is the biggest thing. They need to trust.
I believe this is one of the most valid points, that providing enhanced customer experience is something that trumps everything. If the customer is satisfied with your service, they'll keep on coming back to your specific brand, to your specific service. And there's a huge word of mouth marketing that we do see happening, especially in a society like ours, where people are very quick to spread the word around. And I think that can be a really big win for the industry as a whole. So I think, thank you all of you for taking the time out. I'm sure it must be extremely busy days with, again, a lot of orders coming in. It's also the end of the month. So it's a time when things also do start to pick up back again for a lot of companies. So thanks again. Thank you for your time. And I think it was a very insightful discussion. Got to know what individually you're all doing and how this industry is moving forward and what does the future holds for it. And I hope that the policy level decisions, there's someone listening to this talk somewhere and these get resolved very soon, so you can keep on continuing serving the customers. So thank you again. Thanks a lot for your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.